I love Virtua Fighter 4, this absolute PlayStation 2 classic adapted from its arcades, the not so forgotten home of fighting games, a genre of which has always been niche, but also holding cultural relevance. Adapting fighting games for home consoles is convoluted and requires a unique ask of its developers to consider not just characters, stages, and music, but modes, progressions, things that encourage couch competition, and solo engagements. For all the hype of graphics and never-before-seen fidelity and presentation, most players won't just keep running the same mode to look at the beautifully animated characters, impressive physics engine, and jaw-dropping textures and lighting. This is ironic, because the sleek presentation and ass-shitting awesome stuff on screen from a fighting game is typically what entices the uninitiated to enter the ring. Maybe if a player really connects with the gameplay, they'll be hooked to go deeper, but unfortunately, even if you're in deep with the gameplay, simple modes like arcade just won't suffice for long. You'll end up longing for the sparring partner, some online matches to see how your skills hold up. Fighting games are intrinsic with relationships like that. The FGC is a home of global diversity and spectrums where the crossroads of intersectionality is competition.
100%, it came down to the wire, dude. He does seem like a player that's
Every fighter takes on their personal shonen arcs, creating stories of growth. Who they main, who their pocket character is, how they navigate an ever-evolving meta manufactured, manifested, and maintained by the masses. It's an incredibly personal sport and an incredibly social genre of video games. Other titles melt to obscurity as iterations and sequels march a fighting series forward, but the FGC is nostalgic, and more importantly, loyal, with which I will be practicing these two virtues today. They would never simply let their favorites become sand for the hourglass, even if the subsequent titles are great. Maybe even in retrospect, old black sheep titles can find and enjoy their own space. When I covered Tekken 4 2 years ago, it was already being tucked into its blankies to have its own space on the bed of the series' legacy, rather than sleeping on the cold floor like the dog sheep it is or once was. Sure, it might have almost killed the series, but you know, Tekken fans had 5, Dark Resurrection, 6, 7, and well, 8. Tekken 8! 8 is in its 3-year life crisis right now. All this to say, Tekken strengthened its legacy, and with enough time now, we can look at Tekken 4 with whimsy and adoration for its character, its quirks. Hindsight is good on it. Other titles don't seem to have that as much, and I feel like I see that in Virtua Fighter. Now, given a reminder, I'm really not that deep in FGC stuff. I know some lore, some memes.
Infectious! Is he gonna high five anyone? I don't think he will.
I knew it.
Stop!
I love watching my top 8s when Evo, Combo Breaker, and whatnot are live, but other than that, I am passive on all of it at best. For whatever reason, I can't help but love to mull over particular titles within this genre, fantasize, speculate, and discuss out into the internet aether. I'm the type to watch the Strive Grand Finals and be so into what I'm seeing that I drop all my accrued personal budget to get Strive on PC with as many efficient character packs as possible, only the most important stuff, you know, by that I mean Bridget and Unica, because her ultimate looked so fucking cool, I just had to get my hands on it. I dicked around in training for about 2 hours, debating if I was really going to drop my girl Giovanna for Unica, getting absolutely bodied in my first online match, thinking that a stranger rushing me down wouldn't have me instantly forget all the mechanics and nuances to defense and offense I barely had practiced, and having dropped the game since. But you know, hey, that 2.0 update is supposed to put the game back at square one again, so maybe, just maybe. But yeah, that's my relationship with fighting games. I'm more of a dreamer than a fighter. Tekken 8 sure did get its claws into me though, ironically enough. I sure know how to pick them. Apparently, also Strive is way not... The ceiling is huge, But Strive should be easier to get into than Tekken. Tekken has so many fucking moves and bullshit. So I don't know. I'll try again. Whatever. And I want to extend that into other fighting games as well. I even want it to encourage me to actually meet and spar with real people, not just those fake people in matchmaking. But you know, it's hard to start being social and friendly and not overthink how you engage with people when you're in your late 20s and it's the year of our big rat 2026. And how do you even express your genuinity to people and not come off as fake or stupid or whatever? Virtua Fighter 4 is an ironic opposite to follow up on after Tekken 4. From my understanding, it's a contender for one of the greatest 3D fighters to ever do it. It has a celebrated golden legacy, but from what I've seen, those impressions are unanimously motivated by Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. The updated version of the game that was released in 2003. Prior, the original 2001 arcade version was followed by an initial 2002 adaptation. A very small period of time to enjoy the original release of the game, plus the abundant changes and inclusions of Evolution, make it very clear why it's the star of the conversation when discussing VF4. Evolution had character customization, an in-game store to unlock cosmetics, and all kinds of fun stuff thanks to all your play and hard work, like a quest mode, 2 new characters, improved lighting and aliasing, improved mechanics, and other new gameplay.
The show's gonna begin right now! Go! Excellent!
The original VF4 console iteration has Arcade, Versus, and Kumite. I will also distribute the flowers to VF4's training. I'm pretty certain Evolution does even more with it, but credit where it's due. OG VF4 has a fantastic training mode that describes the foundations of 3D fighting really well in its highs, mids, lows, evades and grabs, as well as an extremely ahead of its peers dynamic advice feature. One that you can toggle on or off and specifically tells you how your executions are falling short, if you're inputting something too slow or too fast, for example. It's great stuff. Really engaging and yeah, educational. I wish you could stage select training. Maybe it's something I missed to enable in the options menu, because there were a few like pivotal features that were just in the options menu for some reason, but I didn't see it, so it's definitely an aspect I missed. This being said, there just isn't much to the original release, is there? Content is always the big issue for fighting games, and it's an issue here. There's been a lot of discourse, even recently, that good fighting games are still bad video game products. I don't know, it's a whole thing. Fighting game discourse is its whole own breed of strange, toxic, pointless, or all of the above. It always comes down to game balance with buffs and nerfs, maybe who's the better pro fighter, pinch of sexy character drama, and if you're a Smash player, whether or not pedophiles deserve a second chance. Arcade is fun though, and Kumite is a cute little simulation what it would be like to fight online, taking on different skill ranks of names associated characters, but that's all there is. What else is there to not just jump into Evolution instead? Well, one, I have a physical copy of Evolution that I got for like $5 from my local used game store, so I want to play it on my Zeta Gundam Yakushiki edition fat PS2 rather than through PCSX2 emulation. But you know, this PS2 model was exclusive to Japan, so I had to region unlock it, which requires free McBoot, which I was originally going to install onto a burnable disc myself to put onto a memory card, but I got too lazy, so I just bought a free McBoot memory card for like $20, which was the same price if not cheaper than if I had gone to Micro Center and just bought some burnable discs and then attempt the process of getting free McBoot onto that said disc and then onto the memory card. And all that is just for jailbreaking the console. Like I said, I still have to download and install safely freaking Mechapone onto the PS2 to actually region unlock it. And I have everything to do that. It's just, oh God. I don't feel like doing that. And the emulator's right there and it functions really well. And I don't have a physical copy of VF4 OG anymore. Yeah, actually that's wrong. I don't know when this showed up. When did I get this? What the hell? So I have a physical copy of the original as well. I got both versions of VF4. So all that's moot. I should just freaking do it, but I'm just, I'll get the PS2 fixed up eventually. I guess I left this segment in because I just wanted to show off that I have a Hyakushiki edition fat PS2. It's really cool. I really like it. But two, there's that certain quality to the OG. Same stylings to Tekken 4, but a different approach. Either way, it's equally obsessed with that early 2000s next gen, the future is now super aesthetics. It's all right here on this immaculate main menu. You think liquid and intelligent D&B. You think the sophista future or hexagons and sleek edges, yet soft lines. We're thinking the Panasonic Foma P900 IV. Data rates in the 100 megabits, baby. It's called clean data. You know, when technology was beginning to impress, but still anxious to prove itself. And the visions of its future were in the hands of imagination rather than techno-feudalism or whatever mass surveillance oxygen as a service bullshit we're on now. Not to totally doom post on what tech is now. I mean, between the indie web, home lab services and communities, and endless options for getting out of the subscription service app-based hellholes, technology can be a place again. It can be a cool, fun detail to your life. You can make it look and feel like this sexy-ass main menu if you want it to. Lene Hart's narration over each selectable option is so sophisticated and perfectly matched with the presentation.
Virtua Fighter 4 Arcade versus
The way she says kumite, or taking back to a time when the term AI was all fancy for the in-game CPU systems.
AI system.
It's a damn shame she just isn't the overall narrator of the PS2 version of the original. Ready Go Guy is fine for any fighting game.
Fight 5. Ready, go!
But she brings that techno elegance in a totally unique way to compete with the likes of Tekken 4's narrator. Lene Hart is also the voice of Sarah Bryant, whom is my main.
Even good guys blow it.
If you can call playing about 4 hours of this game casually to reconnect with some childhood memory and to collect some footage maining. But hey, she's literally Zero Suit Samus.
Yahoo!
Oh, Sarah, you're so goofball chungus. Never change for anyone, girl. All that aside, the minimal content to this rock solid 3D fighter combat that I can't share with anyone kind of just leaves me sitting here on this menu, contemplating. Am I making a video dedicated to this game just because of a menu? I'm not a user interface designer. I'm not even a game maker. I can't possibly pretend to know what I'm talking about for long enough to warrant a video about a menu. I can only YouTube guy who pretends to have any valid certifiable voice on a professional matter this for so long. I guess I really am just sitting here, wanting to talk about this. Maybe you're enjoying sitting here too. It's just really cool looking, and it sounds perfect, don't you think? That's all there is to it. Any singular aspect can miss you with a game. Maybe you're just not a fighting game person. Maybe you just don't like PS2 games, or I don't know what the fuck else, but all it takes is a single instance of an impression of any possible combination of aspects within the convoluted multimedia package that is a video game to hook you. What I recalled from Virtua Fighter 4 in fragmented and inaccurate child memories older than what I conjured back up for Tekken 4 was snow, cages, jackets, water. I brought the game back into my life and booted it up, and yeah, I was welcomed with this. All I need is this main menu and this track, because what a track this is, right? I'm a sucker for beat tapes. Simple songs that create an ambience and let it simmer for about a minute or so and just call it. What else does a song even need to be if you don't want it to be? The main menu is literally 2 chords back to back. After a simple, lightweight introduction to the vibe that lasts about 4 measures, a single progression, it just cuts to the groove. The bass itself drives a perfect rhythm to accompany both the percussion and the arpeggiated synth. That acidic hi-hat with tons of dimension and velocity, met with a clean pop snare and bass drum. All wrapped in a bow with the pad that alternates the two chords every 2 measures, which I clocked at about 97 BPM. This is the type of track that my limbic system can listen to for an entire 8-hour day, and it locks me in with its vibes so simply and purely that I'll probably shred through 2 weeks of work in a single day, then burn out on it after like 3. It's so gorgeous. I love this presentation so much. It's such a charming, consistent theme for games of this era. To have this menu, the music, the sound effects, all the style for the final arcade boss to culminate as this character Durl, a Silver Surfer having ass whose AI is way too overtuned and input greedy, and you only get a single chance to defeat her with any given arcade run, and no way in hell am I capable of that. I just came here for the vibes, girl. You can be sleek and awesome tech demo for the cool reflective textures and shit that the PS2 can render. That's really cool, but man, I do kind of want to unlock you. You're such a weird, all-encompassing vibe of what the game is like, but yeah, maybe one day, but it's not this day. It's way too difficult. I'm not good at this game. I love getting to talk about this simple adoration I have for an uncelebrated and inferior version of a famous fighting game. There's something uniquely lonely, and I guess maybe you'd call it melancholy. Fighting games with minimal single-player content thanks to the nature of being adaptation. The fundamental aspect of social and public engagement environments removed from the design itself, and having to navigate what to provide to make it worth it. And maybe later down the line, lots of quest stuff and cool unlockables and other incentives get added, which I love, but when it's just a simple output of itself, it's the same sort of looking out at like the skyboxes of old source maps. And it's got a lonely story in itself, this being the very first Virtua Fighter published by Sega to not release on a Sega console.
Sega AM2.
AM2R, the development gods who have bestowed the world with Shenmue and all the virtual sunsets people swoon over nowadays, had to concede their future in hardware to Sony with the launch of the 4th installment of their flagship fighting series. I'm not sad for the company necessarily, but just the fascinating history of Sega with this title and how things changed with the PlayStation 2. I imagine an earnestness for the era's tech alongside the troubled trophy that is the Dreamcast, and how they took to adapting their engine from the arcades to Sony World rather than what Sega devs previously worked hard on. Kind of bittersweet. It's not like there isn't plenty to love, no, I'm just speaking in a matter of comparison to flagship single-player experiences and how fighting games have struggled to answer that question through the years as they've continued to adapt to modern gaming sensibilities. It's fascinating stuff, and VF4 Evolution nigh perfected many winning concepts back in 2003, but in 2002, this simple, sultry addition to the series might just always be my favorite. It's style is substance stuff. When you talk about the substance of something, that's what it is. Genres like types of desserts. Like, yeah, a fighting game is a cake, right? But the style, that's how you finesse it into red velvet or lavender lemon or, I don't know, something else. This is a shaky metaphor. But that's what makes a cake a taste. Style, how it smells, looks, feels in your mouth, or I guess in your hands. That first impression of cool characters and cool stuff on screen that makes you want to sink your teeth into a fighting game, OG Virtua Fighter 4 will always only ever be that first impression. A funny, charming, sleek memory. And I will take this cake for what it is. I have had my slice, and it was very yummy. Yes, thank you.
Game over!
And thank you for watching. It feels nice to casually ramble about something that, doesn't, doesn't matter. Just whip out a script on some simple first impressions. I wanted to exercise having simple fun with video game stuff for casual sake. that's a healthy thing to do for our little rat brains. God, especially after that Stellar Blade video, it took me a year just mulling over those details. Absolute shameless plug there. Please go watch that one and my other stuff. I'm still pretty proud of it. I'm still proud of the Stellar Blade video too. I know that was literally my last scripted video, but you know, my expectations change fast. Things change fast, and I'm really trying to get better at the video stuff and all kinds of whatnots. And I got lots of other ideas in the pipeline, but you know, we'll see. I'm trying to take it casually. But I hope you enjoyed. Play some Virtua Fighter. Maybe some Tekken. I don't know. Maybe not some Tekken 8 right now. I'm not sure. I mean, unless you have fun with it. If you have fun with it, that's cool. Anyways, yes, I love you. Thank you. Bye. Oh my God. Yeah. If life was a rat race, you know. if it was like that, then you know, like if it was like a rat race, then they wouldn't if they didn't. Because like a rat race, right? That's like a term, you call it, running in life, hectic, but but you say you're in a rat race, but a group of rats is called a mischief. Like, if you were ever curious, if you had no fucking clue what that outro meant, that's what a group of rats is called. And that's so cheeky and non-consequential. So, you know, if that were true, if the rats, the racing, you'd call it something different. You'd call it a business of rats. If they were grind setting like that, you'd call it a business. But it's not. It's a mischief, you fucking idiot.
Ha! Yeah! Ha!